Oh, what a nice little song that was. What's going on, Geeks and Geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Steady. With me on this episode is the man, the myth, the legend. You know him as JC.
Hey, and happy opening day to everybody. It's finally here. The lockout's over. Who's winning the World Series? Who do you have predicting? And why is it the Los Angeles Dodgers? Hey,
Or why is it the Boston Red Sox?
no, it's not. No, it's not.
And also joining us on the show, the man behind the magic, the one and only Joe Garcia.
Hey, everybody, just be forewarned. I'm not 100. I'm not feeling my best.
He's on
I'm
drugs.
on like 5 different types of medication, so really I don't know what the
Gonna
fuck
be
I'm doing
great
right now.
show.
So it could be a fun ride.
So this is going to be a hilarious episode.
It's going to be a fun ride, yeah. I might even take my shirt off, Teddy, if you wear your onesie.
Then
Well,
I'll not get it. It's at the dry cleaners, Joe.
Yeah, you have to get
And
it dry
only
cleaned.
you can see that onesie. We can't do that on the show. Anyways, we got a great show for you guys tonight. Another late night streamer.
How have y'all been recording shit, man?
We are going to be talking about episode 17 of Young Justice. We're actually concluding the arc 4 of season 4. Time flies. Moon Knight, we got episode 2 that just dropped, and we're also going to be talking about Halo, the third episode, which dropped just today. But first, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Young Justice episode 17. And man, this was another incredible episode from start to finish, if you ask me. And it just ended on this crazy high note. But episode 17 is titled Leviathan Wakes. And I'm going to do the quick summary, or as quick as I can make it. And then we'll start getting to the nitty gritty of it all. All right, here we go. First, we open on Arthur Curry approaching his brother Orm and claiming that he is a clone based on the inconsistencies of their past. He later allows McGann to unlock the parts of his mind which were manipulated by the one and only Simon. He keeps popping up from time to time. In a memory, Vandal Savage says 2 subjects received the Psy-back transfer, which imports memories from one entity into another. And then the memory goes on to reveal that Arian is in fact the original Ocean Master. Something that we talked about last week was a definite possibility. Confirmed. Here we go. Calder and his team have been searching for the original crown of Arian for 3 weeks. After defeating a monster crab, they stumble upon the original capital of Atlantis, as well as the crown of the prophecy. After escaping an even larger beast, the crown is given to Arian, but it destroys him and returns the power to the Lords of Order. Arthur promotes Lagon and Calder and decides to rejoin the Justice League. Arthur promotes Lagon, and then Arthur decides to rejoin the Justice League. While Cowler decides he's going to take a little leave of absence, much needed. Vandal Savage is defeated by the Lords of Order and his project, Thrynos. I don't know if that's what he called it. Thrynos may or not still be in motion. We're going to talk about that in a second. Next, we see Connor still lost, but now he's seeing the magic school bus journeying through time and space, something that we saw in the third arc. And then during the credits, Calder reflects on the team members he lost. He takes a lot of the responsibility for it and decides he must come to terms with their death, something he had not done yet. JC, how amazing was this episode in your opinion?
Really good. They really dove into a lot of what's going on in Atlantis and answered a lot of questions that we had talked about earlier this week too. And yeah, I know, Joe. I saw the comment. I haven't seen Morbius yet, but I enjoy the Venom movies. But anyway, I digress.
Don't watch it. Don't
Yeah,
watch it.
this I'll wait till it's streaming. But this was it really answered a lot of questions and saw a little bit of Connor, and it would be the magic school bus traveling through the nether realm to get from time period to time period. So it's hilarious that made the cameo there. I had to chuckle a bit because we had just had that one episode where it was going back through all these episodes of time and you didn't realize it was there, and that was just so funny to see that that's how it was traveling from area to area. So
No, I don't think it was the way that it was traveling.
it
Remember
seems
when
like
I
it.
remember when I did the timeline and I like wrote it all out and I called
Yeah.
out every single episode that they travel to?
Yes.
There was one scene where they did go through like a quick couple of seconds of nothing. It was just like a vastness, an emptiness, and I'm like, I don't think we've seen this in an episode before. And then I also have nothing to go off of to determine which episode it came from.
And
Turns out
now this was it. Maybe this was really it. Yeah.
that this was it. Yeah.
it was a vastness to the school bus because it was really like a, like a purgatory. You can't see it because they were still technically alive, but this is how they're getting from time period to time period. So I thought that was a nice little cameo. It makes me wonder, Lau, if like at random spots the school bus just going to appear and you didn't realize it. But I like how they covered a lot. Calder not having come to terms with the death of his Young Justice teammates. Yeah, they hadn't really explored that. All we had really seen from him was just kind of getting distracted with his duties as Aquaman now, and now there's going to be two Aquaman. So, um, but this was kind of cool to see a little more of the political and deeper dealing side of things in Atlantis and underwater in the Seven Seas. So, uh, but I was actually pretty happy for Mira when all this was said and done too. To be basically the king of the seas or queen of the seas, if you will. So
Now I
that was,
think you got it right the first time because Arthur even calls her the king of Atlantis,
yeah,
and
from a title standpoint, but yeah, I mean, she's a queen when
from
you
a,
think about it. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, and his reasoning was like justified. Pretty much, he went through it, and you're like, yeah, it makes total sense. His reasoning also for why there should be two Aquamen on the Justice League team also made a lot of sense. He goes, we got four Green Lanterns, nobody's gonna say anything. I'm just like, the man's
I
right. What can
mean,
you do?
you have how many Supermen too? Because there was Superman and there was Steel, so technically you had two of those.
There you
So
go. There you go. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and Flash. There's been multiple
how
flashes.
many of
There's
them?
multiple kid flashes. So yeah,
Yeah,
makes complete sense.
that was a nice little
Um,
fourth wall call out. I thought that was hilarious. So yeah,
absolutely. Listen, this was fantastic in the sense that we got a Vandal Savage ploy from like start to finish, and it got resolved. Usually when Vandal Savage puts a plan in motion, it takes episodes or like a season or two to find out how it ends. This one we find out he had this thing called, again, I think I wrote it down wrong, the Thrynus
something like that. Yeah.
plan. I'm saying it wrong. I know
Mhm.
I wrote it down wrong, but in my opinion, so you get that trinus. You get that tri. I think in the beginning of it in the prefix, and so it sounds like it's a 3-part plan, which
Mhm.
makes me think this was only part one.
Yeah, there's still
Um,
more to it. So
and either yeah, in either part, maybe part one maybe we already heard it before, but I don't think we did. So I feel like this is the beginning of a new saga with Savage. And I'm
mhm.
also let me try and finish this part, and then I get to the next part. It sounds like this new saga with Savage. It's a 3-part plan, hence the prefix. This was part one, and he failed miserably. And he had it planned down to a T. I mean, it was going to happen. Arthur was like, I can't stop this now. He's going to be king if I try to stop it, which is really smart because he understands the political ramifications if he tried to call the newly crowned king of Atlantis a fraud in front of every single person in the kingdom, in the seven seas, if you will. So yeah, he's like, yeah, I can't do anything. So the plan was going to work, and they still knew he was a fraud, but there was nothing they can do. Um,
Until the
the
crown shows up, the
until
actual
the crown shows up.
yeah.
And yeah, so what I was trying to say is he planned for everything. Everything was going fine. The Savage wins,
Mhm.
but the Lords of Order are like, no, and totally eradicate Orm. Almost feel bad for the guy. Like he couldn't just have like, I don't know, change his appearance to be Orm in front of everybody. He had to just
Yeah,
totally disintegrate the guy. Um, and he kind of came back from the dead in a way. It feels like all the Orms, these Orms are the
Clones.
clones,
Yes,
whereas the original Orm was already dead,
pretty
right?
much. That's basically the idea. Is that the other ones are dead, and he was just uploading consciousness from before he got incarcerated. That I mean, he, very much what we see in Halo. This upcoming episode of Halo we're going to talk about too is how they bring Cortana. And I was
Every
funny because
season, every movie,
yeah,
clones.
I was watching. I saw the Halo, then I saw just I was like, wait a minute, it's like how does the conscious thing work here? So yeah,
I wonder what the next parts of his plan are going to be. We do have two more arcs in the season. Are we going to get this whole entire Savage scheme laid out in the rest of this season four? I mean, that would be amazing. But
I mean,
the other
one
thing,
of the arcs was the history of Savage, so it's possible. I think.
yeah, definitely. We spent a lot of time on all of this stuff.
Yeah,
For sure, for sure. Um, it's really interesting to see Savage piss off.
Mhm.
He's usually Mr. Cool. No matter what happens, no matter if one of his little plans fail, if one of his henchmen fail, one of his if he kills one of his lieutenants, we've seen that before. No matter what he does, no matter what happens to him, he's always Mr. Cool. He
yeah.
actually like goes berserk at the end of this episode,
Mhm.
which is interesting to see. So, yeah, like how is this going to influence what he does going forward? That's going to be interesting. All I want to say is like this episode, which was written by Carrie Payton, who voices Calder, Aquaman, was incredible and so much emotion put into it. And I know it's like it's an animation series and blah blah blah, but there was so much emotion put into sort of Calder coming to grips with all that's happened to him, all that's happened to his teammates. He even went back and referenced like finding Connor in that clone facility, and like that how that started everything. He goes, "It probably was a stupid decision that we made, but that was the beginnings of our team, and now we've lost multiple members. And I don't know if he's kind of not only does he feel responsible, but you kind of sense a little regret in it. Like, would these
Yeah.
people still be alive and well if it wasn't for us kind of having these ambitions?
If we hadn't
Um,
formed this team, would everyone still be alive? And I
is it
mean,
worth it? Yeah,
yeah, I mean, he was the leader of that team early on, so that kind of comes with the territory. When you hold that responsibility. Um, I get that. That's all the pressure's on you as a leader. Especially when your team fails or when members die. How does that
absolutely.
come back on you? Hmm.
I know Joe's here in waiting. He hasn't seen this episode yet, so he's gonna join us for the other discussions. But lastly, I'll say now that we know a Lord of Chaos can enter this realm,
Hmm.
that probably also means a Lord of Order can enter this realm where Connor is waiting, and we know it's his soul, or at least his spirit. Like the
Right.
dude is definitely dead, but Lords of Chaos can enter it, which means Lords of Order can enter it, which means Doctor Fate can enter it. So now that Zatanna knows that something's going on with Connor's spirit, maybe she brings it up to Doctor Fate. Actually, at the end of this
Because
episode, it's
remember that.
her
Yeah.
wearing the helmet.
Because let's not forget, there she's sharing Doctor Fate's with what? How many other people now? 4 or 5?
I think there's three others, so four
Yeah.
total,
So
maybe,
so 4 total. She's sharing that burden. So in the time period that she
or
has
five,
it,
maybe five.
yeah,
Yeah,
in the time period that she has it, while it's in her rotation, if you will, maybe she's working to to get Connor out or save
that
Connor.
is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is wild. Um, yeah, it's got to come up right
mhm,
by the end of this season, and
definitely.
um, how crazy well planned out
Mhm.
this season is specifically for like all these events to be interwoven together, and even like the Magic School Bus journey passing through
Have
right
you
past
been?
Connor. I want to go back now and see what they called it. I think when I was doing the research for that sequence, I think this was just called Unknown. Like it wasn't Void, or it wasn't
It's just an unknown
heaven or
area.
hell or
Yeah.
anything, purgatory. I think it was just called Unknown, and I don't remember if there was a date or not. But
Yeah,
now I'm gonna go back and check it out. Maybe
it,
there's Connor like
this
sitting in the
series,
corner or something.
especially since it moved to DC Universe and now HBO Max. It's so well planned out. It's so well thought out. So well written. It's amazing. And it makes you wonder if they hadn't decided to cut season 2 short, how much further that season could have gone to, because they kind of had to rush job the end when they
Oh
were
my
going
god,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. So lots to think about.
Release the original
Yeah.
season 2 finale or
Release
whatever.
the
We'll
original
we'll
cut.
do a hashtag.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, so Arc 5's coming up,
Hmm.
followed by Arc 6. I assume Arc 5 is going to revolve around Rocket, and I'm also assuming then we will save the best for last. Nightwing will sort of be the focus
Oh
of the
yeah.
final arc.
Hmm. For sure. For sure. You kind of everyone's been kind of waiting to see what happens with that one. So
And we have 9 episodes left if I'm counting correctly. So, 18,
I
19,
think
20.
so. Yeah.
We have 9 episodes left. So either, one of the arcs could be a little bit longer, one may they may end and there might be sort of like a bonus episode. Anything could happen. I'm not going to try and guess what they're going to do because they're going to do whatever they want, and so far it's worked out extremely well. Everybody should be loving what we're
Um,
seeing.
I could see it being, because now they're like one episode a week. I could see it being two more 3 episode arcs, and then you get that final arc with everything coming together, and that doesn't
Well,
last.
I
Yeah.
the reason why I say that is because I think somewhere there was a promo that said 6 arcs.
Oh, 6 arcs. Okay.
And so we've been like solid on there's going to be 6 arcs. They should be this many episodes each, but there's 9 episodes remaining because we know it's 26
Mhm.
episodes. So either Nightwings could be 5, or maybe they, like I said, they end it with 4 episodes and there's like a bonus or something. Who knows? Who knows? The other thing to talk about is that our friend Christopher Jones. Did I talk about this? I think
Yes,
I
you
did talk
did.
about it the
The
last
time
time.
comic. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, they are releasing the tie-in comic. Is going to be sort of a quick story arc following season 4. So I don't know if I talked about that last time,
Mhm.
but it's actually a tie-in comic which takes place after Phantoms ends. So that is very interesting because you see the cover art, you get like a good 4 or 5 pages that they revealed, and so there's a lot of interesting things to take away from it.
Mhm.
So is it kind of spoilerish to kind of
That's
talk
why I
about it
haven't.
now?
So I haven't talked about it. That's why I'm not looking at it. So I don't
Yeah,
want to spoil anything
it's
from.
it's it's a little bit spoilerish for them to kind of reveal that, but I
Mhm.
don't know how else you should have done it. Because you knew when the episodes were coming out, you knew when the comic was going to come out. So like, not saying it's bad. I think we all kind of have a good idea of where this season's going to end and where it's heading, but
Yeah.
you got some really interesting things in there. And I'm just going to say that one of my favorite Batman characters is in the comic, Clayface. And I'm not going to say what he's doing, but I'm just going to say he looks damn cool. And I love what they're doing with him in the tie in comic. So be sure to check that out. It drops in July. We'll review it and hopefully get to talk to Chris Jones about it. Yeah, that'd be exciting. If you checked out episode 17 of Young Justice Phantoms, let us know what you thought about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Drop your theories in the comments. We want to hear about what you think is going to happen next. I am still hoping for a showdown with Vandal Savage, and it doesn't mean it has to end happily. It doesn't have to have a happy ending, but he's extremely pissed off,
Mhm.
and I was very worried about what kind of power he was going to get. Joining the Lords of Chaos and Order, making a deal
Yeah.
with them. But this gives me a little bit more hope that he doesn't have too much else going on. But again, I could be wrong. Oof, what if he tries to kill the Lords of Chaos and Order? True freedom is
I mean, if you
without
think
the
about it,
Lords.
he's been dealing with them for centuries now. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's done with it. He's sick of answering to them and making deals with them. So you know. Mm.
Rudy, what's going on, sir? Rudy's in the chat. What up?
Before we move on to what's next, to Halo, I just want to say, I can't believe I threw this out there as like on a whim when we last did a live show. I think it was Tuesday night, right? Ted, me and you.
Yeah.
And I said, how great would it be if Diane Gonetto showed up for the car show and Super Car Show and Comic Con? Literally the next morning, they announced Diane Gonetto to be there. So um, I'm pretty excited. She's definitely at this point the celebrity I want to meet. I love her as Crazy Jane. And my daughter's birthday is coming up. It's going to be a Kanto theme. She's already got her Isabella dress. So if
Oh
we
my
go to this,
gosh.
I'm pretty sure my daughter's going to be wearing that dress to meet the voice of her favorite character from Encanto. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm actually really happy to see who else they bring in from just in the future, who else they're going to announce. So they got a good lineup so far.
Oh, they got a terrific lineup so far, and we're months away from it. So what JC's talking about, let me see if I can pull up.
KMXEvents.com. It's the superhero car show and Comic Con at the Freeman Coliseum, August 4th through the 7th. And they announced Diane
Isn't that
Gonetto
the
to be
free
there
one?
Saturday and Sunday. Huh?
Isn't that the free one? Like the free car
No,
show?
No,
no, definitely not.
no,
I thought it was another one.
no.
Yeah, probably a different one.
This is part of the
But yeah,
Celebrity Fan Fest thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
we already talked about the other three announcements. But yeah, Diane is going to be at the superhero car show and Comic Con at the Freeman Coliseum, August 6th through 7th. I think I've been saying a different date, 4th through
4th
the
through the
7th.
7th, but she's going to be there on Saturday and Sunday, which are the 6th and 7th. So,
That's right. So it's a 4-day event. Yeah, 4-day event, but she'll be there August 6th and 7th. And yes, she is Isabella on Encanto.
mhm.
But we've been watching on Doom Patrol for years, and
Yes,
she's
which is why it threw me off.
absolutely incredible that she's going to be there. These are two polar opposite characters
Oh
that
my God.
she's
Yeah.
portrayed.
I saw Encanto. I was like, who did her voice? I see the credits. I was like, no fucking way. This can't be. She's so great as Crazy Jane. It's complete polar opposites. And to see her on stage in the Oscars as part of the singing ensemble for We Don't Talk About Bruno was like, wow. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know when this limited time offer ends. So if you're watching this right now and you want to go see Diane, who wouldn't?
Mhm.
Uh, buy your tickets. You get 25% off with promo code TJH. And kids get in free with an adult admission.
Mhm.
To find out how old the kids need to be, because everybody has a different age, right?
Yes.
Policy. Go on to pmxevents.com. Go to the FAQ. They either have it there or they will have an email where you can contact them and ask. If we find out, we'll definitely let you guys know. But yes, you want to go, and they have over 45 legendary car creations from Hollywood movies and TV shows. I saw they were promoting the vehicle from Bad Boys 2, of all
Wow.
things, Bad Boys 2 with Will Smith, and it's one of the orange muscle cars that's all like shot up and stuff. So yeah, plenty of variety of vehicles from your favorite movies and TV shows to check out. I'm gonna be checking out the Ecto One, hopefully with Mr. Ernie Hudson, and we'll drive it around town just for shits and giggles. That's my plan. That's my dream. Nobody's gonna tell me it's not gonna
At least
happen.
around the parking lot, right? So once around the AT&T Center. Kids
Absolutely.
is 14 and under is kids admission for the car show and Comic Con.
That
So
might be the oldest policy I've ever heard of.
I know for sure.
It's usually like your kid's 9.5. Nope, they need a ticket.
Yeah. So
Anyways,
uh,
yeah, PMX events, Celebrity Fan Fest. They always put on a fantastic show, no matter where it is or who's there. So, please make plans to go check it out. They're gonna be announcing like many stars leading up to the event, so it's gonna be exciting. We will be there in some shape, way, or form, and
hopefully.
we hope to see you guys there as well.
Yep.
All right, shall we talk Halo?
Yeah. This is getting a little interesting. I know I was it Jericho that said in our little group chat, he's just like, I gotta wait till the damn season's over because he's having a hard time watching it. But episode three, not a lot of action, but really moving the story along, you know. This is like I've said before, I'm not too familiar with the Halo mythos, but I can tell this is in stark contrast to a lot of where the storyline of the games went, I
Oh, for
believe.
sure.
Yeah. But I kind of enjoy that. You know, because if you see a video game movie like Sonic the Hedgehog, for example, it's similar but very different from how the video games go. And I'm pretty excited to see Sonic 2 taking the whole family tomorrow. But I like that this is kind of doing its own thing, but keeping some of the same, basic story, the Covenant, and everything like that. But this was interesting how they introduced Cortana and whatnot with this episode. Uh, that was talk about clones, right? This was definitely dealing with clones as well. So,
Flash
Let's
clone.
yeah, mm-hmm. Flash
let's
drive
let's
clones.
let's hear from Joe. Joe, what do you think about episode 3? And then after that, I'm gonna go through the summary of the episode. But Joe, your thoughts on episode 3 of Halo, man?
Well, when I start thinking about, the episodes already 1, 2, and now 3, I forgot about one thing is that Master Chief is something called a reclaimer, and we follow the video game lore.
Right.
And that's why he's able to, activate the artifact that the Forerunners have, left behind. Um, so going into that, I think they're going to start exploring that a little bit more because now they're, going to insert Cortana. And when Cortana took over his subconscious or his body, what to me was very interesting is that the artifact wouldn't even respond. It just
No.
Mm-hmm.
died. So it needs his consciousness to fully activate because there's something they always keep on saying. There's always something special about John, the Master Chief,
Mm-hmm.
and why he's able to activate this. And I like the fact that they're kind of doing something a little bit different. They're taking a little turn here from the video game lore. I mean, they're kind of making the series their own thing, changing things up here and there. I'm still around for it. I think the series is entertaining. It's good so far. It's not like, wow, I can't wait till the next episode comes out. Like it's outstanding and great. It's good. It's a good effort. You can tell that they put a lot of effort and love into it. This episode 3 kind of goes down the rabbit hole a little bit more, and you can kind of see where this episode's branching off and showing you the backstories or like the side quest of the other characters, and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes as Dr. Halsey kind of leaves with the Master Chief to go and explore the other part of the artifact that goes with the one that they just recovered because once the Master Chief went ahead and removed the pellet in the base of his spine,
Oh,
that kind of yeah, it kind of helps him finally feel things, and he's walking around the city, and he's listening to music, he's seeing a dog and all this kind of stuff that I could have done without. It's like, just show me the artifact and then show me, him going back to his home world and kind of reliving those memories and seeing if in fact this other artifact is buried somewhere out there. And that's what, of course, Dr. Halsey's all in for, getting that other artifact, to see what they can do together. Um, so I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a decent episode, decent enough. And now you have the other that other kid. I forgot her name. It,
Quan?
Quan. Quan wants to
Quan,
go
yeah.
back to Madrigal, to go ahead and fight with the resistance because she doesn't like what's happening with her world. So a character that you thought was going to play like a really instrumental part in the series kind of is getting pushed to the side a little bit. It's now becoming more about Dr. Halsey. It's more about Master Chief and his memories, and they take up the majority of the episode. The other characters that they're trying to kind of still show you that are around, they get a minimal amount of screen time. So they're kind of at this point, they're just kind of like afterthoughts. You don't really care about them. You're just there. Okay, they're part of the story, but they're not an instrumental part to it. I think that the series, as it gets further and further along, starting with this episode 3, I think it's going to start to get away from itself a little bit more. And I think the episodes after this are going to start to make not as much sense. I think things are going to start to unravel a little bit, and we might be whimpering into the finale.
Hmm.
We'll see. I mean, I like that they've taken some liberties. You really have to try and appeal this to a wider audience. I know you'll get the hardcore gaming audience, but you have to kind of expand it a bit to get people interested. So mhm.
We were wondering before the season started whether we were going to see the face of John 117, and now we can confirm that we got way more than just his face
Yeah.
by the third episode. So yeah, no
Hmm.
no more wondering about that. It is. a little daunting, or sorry, a little jarring for people who maybe haven't who are fans of the game to see so many variations from the original story. And not to say that it's bad, but it is questionable some of the decisions that are being made. Why have him take his emotional inhibitor out if all it's going to do is like slightly give him a better connection with the artifact? Can't we just have the strong connection from the get go? Like, I'm hoping there's another reason why that inhibitor little pellet will be removed. Other than that, it's like we didn't need to waste a whole lot of time doing that. So it feels like it could have just been something cut out, and then we just gone past it. But let me really quickly go through the summary and make sure we cover everything. Halo Episode 3 Emergence. We open on a flashback. The Covenant finding the Blessed One, Maki, who now searches for the artifact and to kill John 117. Quan spends this episode convincing Soren to take her to Madrigal to overthrow the new rebel leader. Halsey sacrifices her clone, somehow transferring her entire mind into an AI implant for John 117, known as Cortana. Maki acts as an escaped prisoner to the UNSC in order to infiltrate their ship. Upon her arrival, she kills everyone on board. John 117 removes his emotional inhibitor with the help of Cortana, and Halsey is strangely supportive of all John is going through. Through additional experiences with the artifact, John is able to determine his homeworld. He was from Eurydimus 2, and he believes he saw a second artifact as a child. Cortana, however, is unable to determine the fate of his parents, as a plague killed most of the people on the planet. He was transferred off world while his parents and others were left to their demise on the planet. The final scene has Halsey say that the truth about John and where he's from could destroy the entire Spartan project. I'm putting that last part in quotes because she said all she said was, if they know the truth or if they find out what happened to the planet, it would destroy us. I'm just taking us to mean sort of her team and their lab. I don't think it means like everybody or like the military. So that's what I take away from that. What it means, I'm wondering if this plague on the planet was maybe somehow influenced or caused by Halsey. That could be something that she's referring to as far as like it would destroy us. Or is this how you introduce the flood?
About to say,
We'll
this might be how you bring the flood into things, you know? So,
this plague might not have been like the black plague where everybody just kind of keels over and dies, but maybe it's a plague which turns people into parasitic like zombies or
let's talk
monsters of
about
some
the
sorts.
freakiest part of the first game was the goddamn flood. Yeah, that's
Loved it.
yeah, but this is we were wondering how they might bring this in. So it's either some sort of like uh flood invasion kind of thing, and or the only other thing I could potentially think of is that he's somehow related to the Covenant. You know, he's part Covenant or some shit like that, and maybe Abomination of Civil, which might explain why he's able to interact with the artifact. You know, um,
Ooh,
so he has some ties to it. That's the only thing I could think of.
it
Besides,
is odd.
mm,
I'm wondering if his parents, his dad looks like he might have been some sort of professor or scholar or something, maybe a scientist. And so perhaps he is the reason why John has some sort of reaction to this artifact. That's what I'm
yeah,
sort of leaning towards. I don't have enough evidence to determine that. But like I mentioned, it would be pretty cool if this plague was the actual flood. And again, why is Halsey so hesitant about going to this planet? Because it has something to do with them directly, and so that raises a lot of questions. Or it could have something to do with the cloning project. Like this whole cloning thing is like really dark money type stuff, like hidden. Like I don't think anybody knows these are living, breathing, thinking, feeling clones that she's harvesting. I think it's pretty clear and evident that this was not what she told people she was doing, and yet she's, going through it under the false pretenses of what she sold the military that she was trying to do.
Mhm.
Killing her clone, um, that's some dark stuff, bro. Really dark stuff.
That was I
And the
always
way
always
they
with the
did it
eye,
too.
always with the eye. Is like, what the fuck, man?
Always.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't have gone through the ear just to get to the brain. Like, really? You just to download onto a jump drive. That's really what you're doing, you know. So,
I still want to
but
know how all that tech works. Joe,
yeah,
I'm sure you're going to tell us exactly how they got a needle to like get the entire essence of the mind or everything into a chip.
I don't know. To me, it just looks like they went ahead and extracted the consciousness through that particular frontal lobe of the brain.
yeah,
So basically, what they're doing is they're extracting the consciousness of one flash clone, Dr. Halsey, and
mm,
they need that consciousness from a living being in order to create Cortana, because Cortana is more than just an AI. She's somebody that can actually act for herself, make her own decisions and has her own personality. For all intents and purposes, she is a living being. She has a soul in
that
this particular iteration of Cortana. Because that's basically what they're doing is extracting the consciousness and putting it in a living AI. You know,
yeah, it's it's an organic consciousness, if you will. And I think what freaked me out the most is imagine she's I know she's a clone, but she's like you said has a soul, living, breathing. They give you something to where you just can't move, and you're just watching yourself die, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You just don't even realize it. It's insane. So
Insane.
yeah, hmm
I thought it was hilarious that John was like embarrassed by her when he kind of brought her around the silver team. He's like, "Go away. It's temporary. It's just, it's nothing. Don't worry. Don't look at it. Don't talk to it."
don't even
He's
see it,
really, yeah,
yeah,
really embarrassed by it. And yet, did he still have his chip in by this point?
yeah.
Embarrassment shouldn't be something he shouldn't be feeling right now.
Still had the chip in and that because that was the first time he was reunited with his team. They got to talk to him. That's when she appeared, and it
Yeah,
wasn't until
so
later.
it's almost like he shouldn't be feeling any embarrassment because he
Yeah, he's
can't
just.
feel any emotions.
I think at that point it was more annoyance, like, why is this with me? Whatever, And it wasn't until I mean, the team was a little suspicious, especially that one member of his team. But until they actually took the chip out and that same person saw him do it, it's like okay, that it's not like his team can fully trust him still, from the emotional side of things.
You're probably right. And there might be a subplot in there where like they kind of face one another or confront him. They have an intervention. You took out your chip, bro. We saw you bare
Or what if
naked.
what if he sets his Spartan team free from that? What if he also frees them from the emotions of something like that and unlocks their memories? So
Quite possibly. This is definitely a very big change from the video games. And again, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it definitely is different. And Quan, even as a subplot or like a little side story with Quan, I feel like they want us to be involved and invested with that character. And the rebellion needs to have a right leader, a morally right leader. But I'm just like, I really don't care because we know that there's a weapon out there that can destroy the entire galaxy.
mhm.
And so like your rebellion, doesn't really mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. So I want to be more invested, but I'm really not invested. And so it's a weird decision that they felt like we needed this other story to be going on simultaneously, and the audience needs to go with them. Odd that they would have a rebellion to the UNSC to begin with. It's like we know the Covenant's out there. We know they're just killing people left and right and taking over planets. Yet you still have a faction of Earthlings who are against their military, like protecting them. It's an odd thing to do. I don't know if that's one thing I can really get behind is having a rebellion from the military that's protecting you. I don't know. It is odd, very odd. That's it.
That's
I
it.
don't say that. I mean, you kind of covered it out. It is odd. So
Super weird. I Everything else is good. Where do they go from here? What do you guys think, Joe? What's gonna happen in the next episode? When they get to Iridimus 2?
Yeah, I mean, the show is just, if anything, it's predictable. You know, they're kind of showing already what will happen, and that's probably going to be Master Chief going there and you know getting in tune with his surroundings, and it's going to invoke more of those memories that are going to come out. You know, and he's probably going to have that discussion with Doctor Halsey in either episode. You know, the next episode 4 or the next episode 5. So there's going to be some revelations there where he finally realizes what was done to him, you know? So she's going to have some explaining to do. And that's why she has Cortana, because she's probably going to wind up shutting him down. And then something is going to happen because, as you can tell, it's all leading up to the fall of Reach, which I think is going to be foreshadowing in the next couple coming episodes and more than likely going to be the cliffhanger for, to end the season.
Get out of my head, Joe. Get out of my head.
it's not. Cliffhanger's actually getting to Halo at this point. I thought for sure they would get to it now, but I mean, at some point you have to get to the actual Halo itself. I mean, come on, that's the whole point of this. They've made references to it, obviously. So that's my thought anyway. You got to get there.
We haven't talked a whole lot about Marquis Mackie, which is the Blessed One with the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe mentioned, the fall of Reach, and that's how the game started, right? The game started with the fall of Reach, and we stumbled upon Halo, but we already know that Halo's out there, or at least we're referencing it. So it's interesting that there's still a possibility for Reach to be destroyed, and instead of like the Covenant doing it with like a full-on scale invasion, maybe it's just going to be Mackie. She just figures out a way to take out the headquarters of the UNSC, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just enough for maybe just like a ship or a ship or two to get away, and that'll be Keys, maybe just Miranda, but maybe it's Commander Keys or General Keys that's going to be sort of leading that ship that is either leaving or rescuing people from Reach, or maybe he's just like in space already, and then Reach gets destroyed while he's out there. So, kind of a number of things could happen. I didn't think we were going to see the fall of Reach based on how this show started. Now that John 117 is off world
Mm-hmm.
with Halsey, and the artifact is on Reach, like they didn't even take it with them. I think that leaves now an opportunity for Mackie to not only get the device, the artifact, but she's also Blessed One. What happens when she touches it? Is it the same as John, or is it even worse? Maybe it's like a Lord of Order, Lord of Chaos thing. Like when John touches it, it's happy memories. When Mackie touches it, death and destruction.
So
We'll
it's the
see what
tri.
happens.
Basically, it's the Triforce from Legend of Zelda. If someone with a good heart touches it, good shit happens. So if Ganon touches it, the whole world goes to shit. So that's basically what you're telling me. This is.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Sure.
The fact that they left it there
Yeah.
and they're just like, yeah, it'll be fine. The Covenant wants this thing more than anything, but it'll be fine. We'll just
For
leave
fun.
it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So we'll see what happens there. All right. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you thought about Halo Episode 3 and what are your theories going forward. Drop them in the comments, or you can send us a message on Facebook by clicking that send message button, or you can always email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. We got one more topic for the night, and it's regarding Moon Knight Episode 2. JC, you're more than welcome to chill out with us and hang out, or if you got to go, I know you haven't seen Moon Knight yet.
I haven't seen Midnight yet, so I'm gonna drop too. I was also gotta help my wife with some crack cut stuff, but we're gonna get ready tomorrow. The kids are off. She's off from work, and I took the day off because we are gonna go see Sonic 2, 11:30 in the morning at Flicks. Nice for us to go see a movie. So I guess we'll be talking about that next week. You guys plan to see it this weekend, or maybe we'll see.
There's a good chance. I'm not gonna make any promises. There's a good chance we'll check out Sonic 2 this weekend.
Yeah, so
It's
I'll be.
Fiesta, bro.
I know Fiesta, and I've got softball and t-ball duties with the kids this weekend too. But Also, my daughter's raffling off, or team's raffling off a Yeti cooler, $150 gift card to Academy, and 4 tickets for the Flying Chocolates game for box seats as well. So I might post some more information about that. If anyone's interested, you can pay through Cash App. Pretty awesome. Jump in there. Uh, Fundraiser is going to help seeing with some registration fees, uniforms, and for future seasons as well. So, but yeah, let me jump off because been quite the day, and I gotta do some stuff before I get to bed. So,
Appreciate
yep,
it, sir.
yep.
Have a good
See
night.
you next time. Later.
Peace.
Peace.
And then there were two. And we're here to talk about Moon Knight, episode 2. Here is that quick summary I always talk about. Steven wakes up in his flat and is wondering if anything he is experiencing is actually real after footage from the museum shows him completely alone and not being chased by the Egyptian jackal. Keys in his pocket lead to a storage unit where he finds the scarab from the museum and has a chat with Mark Spector, who tells him he is an avatar for Khonshu. Upon screaming out of the museum, he runs into Layla. I mean, wait, what? He runs into Layla, Mark Spector's wife, after semi convincing her that he's not Mark. Later, a couple of officers take him to Arthur Harrow, who learns the truth about Stephen and how Khonshu chose him as an avatar. Arthur says he was once the avatar, but now he must release Amit to eradicate all evil, possibly everyone, um, from planet Earth. Layla shows up with the scarab in hand to rescue, but Harrow sends a jackal after her and Stephen. After a short beatdown for Stephen, who called upon his suit, Mark takes over and takes care of the jackal handedly. Joe, your thoughts on episode 2 of Moon Knight, man? How'd you enjoy it?
It's going to be one of these series. I think Moon Knight is kind of doing something a lot different than
Yeah,
the previous MCU, no, not MCU, but the previous Marvel series that have come out. Um, and in this one in particular, it's like you're either going to like Moon Knight or you're not going to like Moon Knight. I think it's not everybody's cup of tea, And I enjoyed this episode. I think it kind of gave you a little bit, more of a peek down the rabbit hole into who Mark Spector actually is. He's not the guy that sells trinkets at a gift shop, you know, in a museum. He's a little bit more robust than that. The introduction of his wife, which brings him divorce papers, because she's wondering where he was at this whole time. For a couple of months he went MIA, didn't know where he was, if he was alive, if he was dead. And then he just winds up calling her out of the blue, and she's like, "What's with the accent?" So you get the impression that right now you're dealing with a guy who's kind of lost in his own mind, doesn't really know who's in control at this point. Is it the Moon Knight, the Egyptian god Kanosh, Noshu, or whatever they call him, or is
Khonshu.
it Khonshu, or is it going to be Mark Spector, or is it the other persona? What's the other guy's name? Steven?
Steven, yes.
Yeah, Steven. And it's like, who's in control here? It's going to be one of these wild rides, man. I mean, you're actually, with Ethan Hawke's character, you're seeing that there's more Egyptian gods out there that decide to reincarnate themselves in such a manner to where they inhabit a human host, as an avatar, so they can enact their will through them. So basically they're meat puppets. And when they're done with them, they can always transfer to another one, and enact their
Absolutely.
will on that on the world. So you get the sense from what Ethan Hawke's character, when he's speaking to Steven, he's not speaking to Mark Spector, he's speaking to Steven,
Right.
offering him something to eat. "Oh, you're a vegetarian, trying to be nice. Let's sit down and all right, let's get to business. Where's the scarab?" You know, and then he introduces his people and they're gonna come and kill him. And then he's telling them about the Egyptian god, uh, could you say Nosh, Kanosh, or
Khonshu.
no Khonshu? Okay. So Khonshu is basically the outcast. He's been outcast from all these other Egyptian gods. He's no longer in the inner circle because of the way he likes to conduct himself. He
Right.
doesn't have the mindset to be in the inner circle. So he's kind of a rebel at this point, doing his own thing. So he's telling, and it's funny too, because he's Khonshu is telling Steven, don't listen to her, kill her, kill him right now. So it's funny to me how they
Crush
have
his
this.
windpipe.
Yes, they have this funny banter going back and forth. Nobody can hear it except for Steven or Mark
Yeah.
Spector, that same body, and you know, no shoe. And that's the funny thing about it, is like this whole world is going on. This whole thing is happening before everybody's eyes. And it's kind of confusing, but it's kind of funny at the time because you have a guy who's just trying to figure out what's going on. This has been the thing from the very beginning of Moon Knight. What's happening? What am I doing here? And I like that, the not knowing part. I think that's what I like the series so much, and particular this episode as well. You're getting to know a little bit more about what's going on. They're getting a peek behind that curtain a little bit, but it's the thing that keeps this series fresh is the not knowing part. You have no idea which way it's going or what's going to happen, because a lot of people don't know the lore of Moon Knight because he's one of the more obscure characters in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Much like Darkhawk is as well. If you didn't get the comic books and you didn't really read these comic books and get to know these characters, you're seeing this for the first time. So I think it's from a fan perspective, this episode, it's something to kind of tantalize you, to get you excited for the next episode. It's going to keep coming. He's going to keep it coming back for more and more and more. I like the fact of the pacing and of this particular the episode. I like the little bit of intrigue and the action sequences, and another big reveal I think is showing that these entities that No Shoe sees, the Moon Knight is battling, they're basically invisible to the human eye.
Right.
Only an Egyptian god will be able to see these. I don't even know what they are at this point. They're just some creatures from the underworld. I think they call them what is it, dingoes or something like that. Yeah.
Jackals.
Jackals. There you go, Egyptian jackals. So Ethan Hawke's character has a piece of that fragment of energy in that staff where he's able to summon these creatures from the underworld to do his bidding. And this is what the Moon Knight is kind of combating at this point in time. So seeing all these little pieces here and there, it's interesting. It's right now it's intriguing. It's like a mystery. You're trying to put all these things together. Where's this thing going? It's that they're going to be looking for this particular Egyptian god's resting place because they need something from it, which is what the scarab plays an instrumental part to. It's more like a compass. So at the end of the episode, we see that he's back in Egypt. He wakes up and he's in Egypt and he's looking at the pyramids, which I thought was pretty dope. So I think it's going to get really interesting now. Now they're in their own backyard. So we're going to even learn even more. So I'm excited, man. I liked it.
Absolutely. I'm excited that we're in Egypt as well. And yeah, I forgot to mention that Arthur is able to find the scarab and kills a homeless man to get it. And then Mark tells Stephen, like, we have to get to the tomb before they do. Where's the tomb? Egypt. And so yeah, gonna be interesting that we're in Egypt now. We've got 4 episodes left of this first season. So yeah, a lot of things could happen. Anything could happen. But I'm just gonna say I'm like highly entertained by Oscar Isaac, who is one of my favorite actors today. And for whatever reason, he can act his way out of a paper bag, man. He can just do anything. And so I love the script giving him so much to do, both physically comedic. Let him stretch his physical comedic chops a little bit, but also he's playing these two parts, and one of them is American, one of them is British, and so you really get to see the versatility of Oscar Isaac, doing these things. Absolutely love it. He's entertaining as hell. He's one of my favorite actors right now.
Yeah, great actor.
And oh yeah, and I will watch anything he does because he pulls it off every single time. It doesn't matter what the script says, doesn't matter how serious or ridiculous it is, he's gonna pull it off, and not many guys can do that.
I just saw him today on Dune. I was flipping through the stations, the channels today because I wasn't feeling good. And lo and behold, on HBO, you had Dune, so I saw him there and I was like, dude can pretty much do anything, Ted. He can play anybody.
Pretty much. Except Apocalypse, he couldn't save that movie, man.
Oh, that one.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh.
I forgot.
Why do you
Yeah.
gotta bring up
He
bullshit for
couldn't
it? We
he
don't talk about that. Just like
you
that
know
Encanto
what? He
movie, we
could
don't talk
have
about Bruno.
he could have not even the great Oscar Isaac could have saved that movie.
And
I don't
it was
know.
a poor storyline and poorly, executed character, you know?
Yeah. I wanna say one thing. The scene right before Steven goes into the storage unit, there's a nice little square QR code on the door. Well, if you so happen to scan that with your phone, you're going to get yourself a nice free digital Moon Knight comic courtesy of Marvel Comics. Check that out. This is Werewolf by Night and has an appearance of Moon Knight in it. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. Go back, check out the episode right before he opens the storage unit. There's a QR code. His head blocks it if you wait too long. So make sure you pause it at the right time. Go ahead and scan the QR code and get yourself a free digital comic by Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios. Such
Is it
nice
gonna be
guys.
a comic of Moon Knight?
Huh?
Is it a comic of Moon Knight, you said?
Yeah, I said it's the comic actually of Werewolf, and it
Mm.
has an appearance by Moon Knight. So Werewolf by Night, and then yeah, high above the city, a battle rages.
Oh, yeah.
Beast versus Moon Knight, the supernatural slugfest you dare not miss. And I know you're a big werewolf fan, so go ahead and scan that QR code, Joe, and get you a free digital comic, sir.
I probably got the original somewhere. I have a whole bunch of comics upstairs in my closet in boxes and stuff. And I was actually looking at some of the old comic books I had of Moon Knight and the crossover events that I liked with, Moon Knight. They had Darkhawk, Spider Man, Ghost Rider, all battling the Hobgoblin, and a bunch of cool stuff, man. They did back then. A lot of crossover events with these Marvel comics. A little bit of nostalgia, you know.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited for what's to come with Moon Knight. I hope you guys are as well at home. Let us know what you thought about it. What was your favorite part? What are your theories moving forward? Let us know in the comments, or you can send us a message on Facebook or email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. And that's going to do it for this episode
Well, I
of the
wanted to
Count.
give a quick spoiler on not
Oh,
non-spoiler
my bad.
of
Yes,
Morbius. Okay. So I'm the
please.
only member of the Countdown City Geekcast that actually
So
had
far.
the guts to go see Morbius, and I took one for the team. The family wanted to see it because I had mentioned I wanted to see Morbius. So the kids gave me one last parting gift for my birthday and like brought the tickets ahead of time. And it's like, oh, Dad, we're gonna go see Morbius. So we went to go see Morbius at the newly renovated, should I say, Santikos Theater that used to be the Alamo Draft House over here by the West Lakes area. If you're by West Lakes in Marbach and you live in San Antonio, make sure you do go and check that out. It's really nice inside. I gotta say, I was taken aback at how nice it looked, how bright everything was, and how modern everything looked inside. I still miss the nostalgia of the Alamo Draft House, but nonetheless, they're doing a great job out there. Go out there, check out the new theater. We saw Morbius, and I gotta say too, Ted, the seats that they have in there, they have coolers for your drinks, so you can push a button
Ooh,
and it keeps your drinks cool, dude. I thought that was wild. But we
holy
watched
cow.
more. Yeah, dude, it's amazing. You got to check it out. But we watched Morbius, and I got to say, from watching the film as it started, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't that bad at all. But it slowly lost its way. Once it started getting pretty good, then it got really bad, and it got bad fast. They have a forced villain that comes out of nowhere, has no business being there, poorly written script, bad acting, very predictable, and it suffers again from bad CGI as well. This movie might have been a sleeper hit if it would have come out maybe in 2003, 2004. People probably would have gone to watch it, and said, oh, it was okay. Nowadays, the expectations are really high. And when you have a poorly executed game plan, such as Morbius, I mean, you can see that they tried to put a lot of love into it, but the script was just horrid, man. I don't know who read this script, but it had no business being made into a movie, not in this iteration. It should have just played more on the, like I was talking to you off screen, should have played more to the humanity, the conflict between humanity with Dr. Morbius and his vampire side, and
Yeah.
him being able to learn to control his powers. And they kind of had a little bit about that here, but what made it weird too was the introduction of like the bats. They're like vampire bats that they have in there. And that just got weird, dude. It's like, why even go that route? They didn't really need to be in the film, period. I get that they were, oh, we're gonna go and grab some of these species, but the way they executed that whole thing was just weird, and they tried to put like a love story in there somewhere, and it just got a little weird too. Not gonna give details on that, but everything just seemed off for this movie. It was something that wanted to be something, but it was a poor execution, poorly written script, and everything that you're reading on Rotten Tomatoes is pretty valid. I mean, it's probably gonna be one of the worst movies of the year. I think it's even a step below Moonfall, which is up there too as one of the worst ones of the year as well. And Ryan from Alamo City Movie Talk, he says he thought the movie Morbius was better than Venom. There's no way, Ryan. You're high for saying that, dude. You need to go get drug tested like now. That this movie was bad. I
The
mean,
first
bad.
Venom or the second one?
He's talking about the first one. I'm like, the first Venom wasn't all that good, but Morbius compared to the first Venom, there's no comparison. Venom was a little bit better executed than Morbius. Not by a lot, by a little bit, but it's still going to beat Morbius. Morbius is one of those films that you avoid at all costs. Don't waste your money on it. And if you happen to see it on a streaming service somewhere in the future, which I'm sure it'll pop up quickly, you can go ahead and fast forward through it and you'll be done with it in 15 minutes. And that's 15 minutes of your life you're not getting back. So even the end credit scene, Ted, was a hot mess. There
Yes,
was
I keep
nothing,
hearing.
yeah, there was nothing big. Like it wasn't a big reveal. It was just, you questioned a lot of things that were going on in there. It was just awful, man. It was just awful from beginning to end. I mean, the only good thing was maybe the first couple minutes of the film, maybe first 10 minutes of it. After that, it just got weird and it just never recovered. So don't waste your time on it. I actually wouldn't even give it a star at this point. I mean, it was just bad, dude. It's bad.
That is unfortunate. I probably will eventually though, just because I'm a decent fan of Jared Leto and his work. Also, Isa Gonzalez is in it, and I finished her Dusk Till Dawn TV series. So I'm probably gonna check out Morbius to see a little bit more Isa. If you ask me, but yeah, sorry to
Well,
hear that, man.
she's not bad to look at.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'll probably check it out just to see what all the fuss is about. But yeah,
I'm
thank
just
you for that,
saying,
man.
man. I'm just saying.
Thank you for that, and hopefully we'll be reviewing Sonic 2 after a few of us watch it. Probably
Maybe
next
this
early
weekend.
next week,
Yeah.
probably if we get a chance to get together and talk about that. But if not, we'll be talking about the next episodes for Young Justice, Moon Knight, and Halo next Thursday, most likely. Be sure to check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, please, to our channel so you can find out when we go live. Or you can also follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. You can also get notified when the Countdown to the Geekcast goes live, and you can chat with us about these TV shows. All right. And that'll do it for this episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. Let us know again what you thought about Young Justice, Moon Knight, or Halo. Send us a message on Facebook by clicking that send message button, or you can always email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. For the Geekcast, my name is Steady. With me on this episode was the man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We appreciate the support. And guys, you do us a favor and make sure you spread the word about the Countdown City Geekcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on all major podcasting platforms. And also make sure you go ahead and give us a like on Facebook, on the Facebook page. And also make sure you subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate you guys.
Awesome. That'll do it. Have a good night. See you next week.
Right. Peace.